Hello rugby mates, we are one round down of the Six Nations and it's a great pleasure as always to have Mr Will Greenwood alongside me. Fresh, is that the right word? Fresh from Dublin.
Campo, it's Dr Will Greenwood MBE.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing what they give you. Did you know I was a doctor?
Do you know what? I think I might have known, but I don't...
Civil law.
Civil law?
From Durham University. Bill Bryson gave it to me in the cathedral. My mum said she was more proud of that than winning the World Cup. Most
amazing cathedral in the whole country, Durham Cathedral. Bill Bryson's favourite cathedral, loves it as well.
Yeah, incredible. And there used to be a challenge where at midnight you had to run around the quad nude before the 12 bells. Never did it myself. We had a couple of friends who got caught and actually asked the policeman if they could hold their clothes. Because it was polite in those days.
Listen, let's get to rugby. First of all, how was Dublin? What a place to
be. My son's 21st, went with crew, went with wife, went family. Exceptional. Company, vibe, city. Friday night having a quiet evening. And you bump into Healy, Dawson, Ashton, Kerr. I saw Chris Ashton. I think he's doing a fabulous job in his transition into the media, and wanted to make sure I told him that. Oz was on great form, so that was fabulous. Then the Saturday I was hosting the awesome crew at Aviva, had a quick chat with all sorts of dignitaries, bumped into Andy Farrell after. We just went, how good's Dan Sheehan? That could fill sort of 15, 20 minutes of any podcast. And then roll the dice again Saturday night, long lunch Sunday. Saw Man City get battered by Arsenal in an airport, getting miserable. Plane was slightly delayed. Got home, but here we are talking rugby. And got up this morning, watched all three games. Actually did Radio 5 Live this morning on TalkSport. Both stations were trying to push on what happens if England lose again, what's going wrong with England. It's that vibe. You open the newspapers today and it's snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. It's things England are doing wrong. And unbelievably, all happens because it feels like Groundhog, right? It was Groundhog Day yesterday. So Groundhog Day, and just felt a little like that with England. Fabulous, are we getting into the rugby now? Oh, like powerful, strong, first half, all over them. Goal line defence. Restarts, defensive tweaks working, loads of positive stuff, and then the class. And then the headline is, the class of Ireland work out a way. You have to call this Ireland team a great team if you think about coming from behind to win a series in New Zealand, winning a test match in South Africa last year, going for 3 championships in a row, a Grand Slam. Everyone will go, but, elephant in the room, World Cup. Don't give a monkeys. Lost one game at home in 5 years. They're a great team. And they, from about minute 25, took control of the game. Yeah.
So the question, I think, for us as England fans looking at that game is where did it go wrong and why did it go wrong? And I suppose one of my thoughts was that a team that makes 109 tackles in that first half has that energy, has that positivity. It felt a little bit like we punched ourselves out in that first half. Yeah. But what's your sort of take on that idea?
I think you've got to look at it with both lenses. So at the time, I couldn't work out why Ireland, simple points in front, take them. I think they felt physically, and this is the amazing thing that we sometimes, if you get onto sort of replacements and substitutions, sometimes coaches can't see things that a player can feel. And that's why you have to hand over the autonomy to the players to make those big decisions. And clearly, Caelan Doris and his pack will have been feeling we're on top of them here. Okay, we might not score 5 now, we might not score 7 now, but we park our tanks in their 22. And it took time, and it took time, and it took time, and it was like the last 15 seconds of Marcus's Simbin to pick up their first, and they have to wait until the second half for their second. But you see that control, and it's like occupying the crease in a test match. You just feel like, the batsmen aren't scoring very many runs quickly. Now I know with Bazball they want to hit 4, 6. they want to get to 100 before lunch on the first day. We won 100 for 3 Bazball, they'll take that. Just start whacking it. There is that counter argument that just says, don't worry about the scoreboard, occupy the territory, make them make tackles, put them under pressure, and whilst not rattling the scoreboard, which I've always been a favour of, especially in World Cups where the air gets so desperately thin in terms of oxygen and breath and space, that Ireland clearly had considered that we don't take 3 in these and we just wear them down. And that's what then happens in the second half, because I sort of picked 4 areas perhaps to discuss. And one of them at the top of that is under pressure, this England team, in attack and defence, make bad decisions. And therefore, if you feel ahead of the game that that's the case, then occupy space. I think if Ireland play another team and maybe played New Zealand or South Africa, might consider, no, for this team, for this context, I might take 3. And so they were fully justified in how they did that. So what do I mean by make bad decisions in attack and defence? In attack, what's a bad decision? Ignoring space, ignoring an overlap. And there were 3 instances I found where we didn't make a lot of bus, but we made a bust. And once you make a bust and you're in behind, then all bets are off. All shapes are out of the window. First receiver, go stand flat to the line, kill your foot speed, and
play what you see.
And allow a 4-on-2 to become a 3-on-1 to become a try, not a 4-on-2 to become a shape to buy them time to get back into it. So that's bad decisions in attack.
For me, what you're talking about there feels a little bit like it's a team that is forged in the image of Steve Borthwick, who is very technical and it feels like the team is almost playing like that because that's the way that they are coached to play.
So I think if Steve was here now, I would disagree with you. I like to think him and Richard Wigglesworth would be going, lads, what pictures do you see here? Why have you gone back into a shape? In our post-match gut reaction, athletes, not players. Athletes go back into shape, players go, textbook's gone.
Yeah.
Then there's this other thing called confidence. And when you're confident, you might go into the shape and it's a 4-on-2 and you'll suddenly realise you just play it and you can, with a confidence, you can just go, I've made a bad decision, but actually I still see the space, we can still play, we've still got the confidence to offload and move the ball. When you start winning, you can't stop winning. The inverse of that, when you can't win, you can't win. And with confidence, all these little things, I've made a bad decision, I've ignored it. What do you then do? You retreat even further and don't want to make another mistake. And so that's in attack. What's a bad decision in defence? Getting your spacings wrong, over-reading a play, trying to fix something individually rather than staying collectively. What are you actually defending rather than ball watching? And when your heart rate gets to 180, it's in a test match, it's like being in a washing machine on a spin cycle. And you know how people say good players have got time? So no matter how furious a game is, good players I watched Dupont defend, and I watched Ramos defend, and I watched Kroos defend and Aldrit defend. And at times Wales did put speed on it. They never looked out of control defensively. Whereas suddenly when Ireland up a gear, England started to make those. So England nullified them for 30 minutes, pressuring them, hassling them, confrontational breakdowns. Curry's great, turnovers, kick chase, good. But Ireland, we wait, we keep doing it, and eventually someone will make an error. Bad decision under pressure is what Ireland play for, and it's what England are susceptible to. And with it, 14 points, and the game goes 13-10, 27-10, pack your bags. So pressure and England's reaction to it is probably one of my headlines of the weekend.
Yeah. Question for you around the collective and individual errors, because in this particular game for England, I felt that you could really pick out some individuals that made some fairly catastrophic errors as opposed to the whole team. Maybe, and this is a question, maybe it's the collective being worn down.
Yeah.
Death by a thousand cuts, the way Ireland play.
Yeah.
But when you look at the individual missed tackles that led to tries, and I'm going to pick up on one incident which I didn't feel anyone spoke about, which was, we all know about Alex Mitchell's miss on Lowe up the left-hand side when he's one-on-one, phenomenal strength from Lowe. But for me, that pass back inside to Gibson Park with Freddie Stewart coming across, for me, he has to do better than laying a finger on Gibson Park.
So you've really... So I'm going to come back to Stewart in a second.
Okay.
What do I disagree with in England's defensive pattern? We defend with our scrum half on the wing. Some scrum halves are really good at it, Jameson, Gibson Park, and they'll say Dupont, but Dupont doesn't. Dupont can and does occasionally defend on the wing, but Dupont just goes where there's trouble. He forces a turnover on Nick Tompkins that almost ends up in a try in the 13 channel, and he's on the wing later on, gunning someone down. So I prefer... I'm not saying you've got to be like Dupont. No one can be like Dupont. England are very rigid in their organisation, and I cannot name one England scrum half of this current crop that I think defends well on an edge. The low one, that one is an accident waiting to happen. And the other reason why I don't like my 9 defending on an edge is if he's on the left wing on an edge. I know everyone's been told they can play scrum half. I get it. They can all pass from the base. If you defend on an edge and you get a turnover, who don't want on the ball?
Yeah.
Who's our best threat around there? It's Alex Mitchell. He's 75 yards away. Have him just sucked in behind and roll and, Chandler Cunningham's south too wide, on game, bang, fill it. That burn try doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Which is what Dupont do. As opposed to standing on edge, waiting to be exposed, it's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And that's not a missed tackle's fault. That's a system fault. Then the Stewart thing, but Freddie knows he's got to work on this. And you have strengths and weaknesses as a rugby player. I actually thought he ran the ball back really well.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they'd have just kicked that, and in the first half, he ran with authority. If you're 6'5" and 100 kilos, and you get a little 9 stepping in open space where the busts happen there, and you can get beat both ways. I think what you've done there is you've got a preconception that you don't like Freddie Stewart at the back because he misses tackles.
No.
And therefore, when he misses one, you go, I was waiting for that to happen.
I do feel like one-on-one.
Yeah, it is. It is a weakness. But if you pick him, you're picking him understanding that. But then you can't stone him for it.
No, I get that. That particular try, I feel, as a fullback, you're covering across. The only way Gibson Park can go is to step in on the right. On the left-hand side, you've got Ben Curry or Tom Curry, I'm not sure which one, tracking up, who's actually going to get Gibson Park on this side.
Yeah, show him the outside and go.
And so for me, there was just a little bit, and I think it plays to your chat straight after the game. It felt like there was just a little bit of lack of rugby IQ. And I know everything is happening at 100 miles an hour, and I know the heart rates are high, but it just feels like the other lad, Keenan, in that situation, I think he does a lot more than...
Well, Finn Smith later on has Conan, but that's a different level. Finn Smith, from the break, from the Dan Sheehan trip, he drops him. I mean, he still gets, but he drops him. But that's...
Well, Conan's a different player to Gibson Park.
A different player, so that's the threat. But actually, that rugby, one of the things I'd written down was... threat with the ball, that we look great on the front foot when we're dominating contact around the corner. We can do 2 or 3 phase plays. They don't involve a lot of cunning and guile. If the accuracy and the precision is there, we can play quickly, we can win contacts. I thought Ollie Lawrence had a decent game, a really decent game. Mm-hmm. But when we get stopped, we go to the kick too early, and we don't have either the individual cunning of someone to go off script and make something up off the hoof, or the collective guile to run that reverse play that puts Lowe through, to run the sort of 9 dummy around the back inside that the Irish sides have always been so famous for.
Question for you around just the basic maths in terms of experience between these two sides, because you know, when you look at the bench and you've got 81 caps on the England bench, you've got over 500 on the Ireland bench. And again, it's playing to all your points, really. Is this just a question of England remaining consistent and getting more experience to become a side that is able to make better decisions under pressure? Or is international sport such that, I'm sorry, there's not the time for that? Like, this is a results business, and we've got to get there faster, and we've got to make progress quicker. But the question ultimately is it as simple as we just need more, this team just needs more time? We're doing a lot of things right. We will get there, a bit more experience, and it will come.
Yeah.
All us fans, me included, patience, it'll come, which is kind of the line that we're being fed, right?
Yes.
By players, by Steve Borthwick.
Well, it has to be the line you're feeding.
It has to be,
losing.
but is it the correct line? Is it the correct line?
So the discussion I have on the WhatsApp group with mates of mine is, well, it is what it is. We haven't got the cattle. And one said it's like, if you change the team this week, it's just deck chairs on the Titanic. There isn't the calibre. I would strongly disagree. It's not a silver bullet. One selection change doesn't fix all. There wasn't enough difference in the back row. We've talked about it before. I would have started Marcus at 15 for the reasons we talked about with Freddie, and I think Finn can consistently get the best out of Ollie Lawrence. I would definitely have Ted Hill in the 23. My reserve scrum half would be Ben Spencer or Rafi Quirk. I would probably make Ben Earl impact. I'd give the two Curry boys another go. Who are the man of matches in France? Aldrit, what style of number 8 is he? Caelan Doris, what style of number 8 is he? You know, there's a theme to it. We've talked about this before, like for like, Dwayne Vermeulen, who's been the best number 8, or Kieran Reid, who's our lucky. I'm doubling down on Willis has to start. I would have Ted Hill instead of Chandler Cunningham South. And, okay, we're going nuclear. Does Dingwall play instead of Slade? And you put in the little combo, you put the Finn Smith, Dingwall, best combined 10-12 in the league together, allow Lawrence to play his favourite position of 13. But these are the questions that they'll be going through.
Yeah.
And that they have to be going through, because take out Japan, has 7 on the trot. We've lost against good teams. Is that right? Yeah. France last year, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Ireland. So take out Japan, who are ranked 11 or 12 in the world. Against the best, we're 0 from 7.
Yeah.
So these conversations have to take place. I'm not trying to stir the pot. I wouldn't probably make all those changes. The two I would. Tom Willis starts, Marcus to Philbot, Finn Smith in at 10. The Saracens faithful, will, if Ben Earl has the number 20 on his back, will be spewing. Even though Tom Willis is coming, my argument would be he's an integral part of England's 80-minute mission to win the game. And in the pursuit of better and in the pursuit of difference in my back row, I feel like Tom Curry was outstanding. I'm not someone that gives Ben Curry one go and you're gone. And I know Ben Earl's going to come on, like Wainwright went off for Wales after 4 minutes. Ben Earl, if he benches for blood for HIA, will probably play 70 minutes anyway. But get a proper 8, get a older-fashioned, bulky 8. It's like when Aldrit has the ball, it's like a glacier. It's a fast-moving glacier.
Yeah, very fast-moving glacier.
There's no way
Just
you can make
heavy.
yards.
Heavy.
Ball's a heavy ball.
Yeah.
And Willis is that guy for us. So with the fly half debate, it might be that Finn gets up and can't do it, in which case Marcus comes back. But I think, in my view selectorally is the kid's worth a run at 10, a proper run at 10.
I'll tell you what is impressive when he came on.
Yeah.
Finn Smith. Just
Ireland.
one last thing for England-Ireland before we go. Did you feel that in the end the scoreline flattered England slightly, and how important is that bonus point? Because it feels like it could be. It wasn't really talked about that much.
If you followed Rugby, mate, you said Ireland by 5. It was the best result in the world ever. Paid for my weekend in Dublin. Did it flatter? 79 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. They've got the ball in our 22. It's 27-15. Loaders throws Conor Murray a hospital pass Marcus Smith, who defended really well, by the way, and Tom Willis batter him, turn him over, up the left, cross kick from Marcus, penalty, into the corner, try. So, does it flatter them? Yeah, it does.
Immediately after the game, you said that any sane Englishman would be backing France by 8 to 10 points.
Bookies have made it 7 this morning.
Right.
+7. It is increasingly depressing, making other teams' favourites at Twickenham.
We haven't spoken enough about Ireland Greens. A few players from the Irish team that you really caught.
2 World 15 hookers. Kelleher's fabulous hooker, and then Sheehan comes off. Last did his ACL in June. Done some speed work. His first carry around the corner, they hit him in the line out. He accelerates. It's like, wow, the long miss past the inside ball, slams it down. That's vindication for a kid who's worked really hard. After I think he's had 20-odd caps for Ireland, he's snapped his knee in half and he's come back and he looks worldy. The undercard, Beelum. No tag furlong. He was on one ball like a loose ball at the front of a line. I was like, wow, I didn't know he could move so fast. They beat us. Actually, one thing I didn't mention, they beat us at, which is slightly disappointing. They beat us a lot of the 50-50 balls. So in football, they talk about win the second touch. It's a lot of long balls, touch, win the second touch. Don't know what the data is. It just felt like, other than restarts where we were good at getting the tap back, some of them they were quick on those. Ringrose had one, Van der Fleer had another. Ringrose outstanding, went to win, came back. Aki powerful, Jameson Gibson Park. I thought it is going to come under pressure from Thomas Williams from the Lions starting jersey, but did enough to suggest he's the Lions starter. Crowley, perfect for him off the bench. Prendergast, okay. Be frustrated with 2 bang average kicks at goal. If you're trying to nail down the slot, those have got to go, otherwise the debate swings open again. Lowe always has good games, but wasn't exposed defensively. And if you just let him play and attack, awesome. Doris, brilliant. Ryan Bird, okay. Ryan, okay. Byrne, sensational. I mean, sensational. And Porter at one stage picks up a ball on right toe, comes around the corner, does an offload for a loose head who can bench press 750 kilos. He can also run around and play. So they deserve their win. They find themselves in holes when you're the best team in the world or close to the best team. Everyone does the research on you, works really hard to emulate you, to copy you, to find a way to stop you and to beat you. And they keep getting put in holes and they keep finding a way to dig their way out. So a huge amount of kudos to them, and really pleased for Simon Easterby, because a lot of the chat is, no Farrell. And you're sort of waiting for that sort of headline to write itself, where we always knew without Farrell. So pleased for him, as he's done his time as an assistant coach.
Great. England-Ireland done. We are going to move on to Scotland-Italy. And there feels like there's less expectation on them, particularly because of Tuipulotu out. It's now suddenly, we can't do it. And I wonder whether that's going to play into their favour. I mean, of course, they would rather he was there, but that kind of dampening down of expectation and kind of feeling like they didn't quite get out of third, fourth gear, but still putting some points on Italy, who I didn't think were as good as they might have been. Give me your take on the game.
15 minutes of top-class stuff from Scotland. Finn Russell didn't have his best day at the office. No. 3 or 4 errors, the intercept pass to Brex, a couple of loose offloads. Scotland's got a little bit lateral. I know it sounds crazy. Sometimes it can hurt you being 14-0 up after 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Italy went for the old chip away, 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, crikey, they're in this. Intercept, 19-all. What the heck's going on? Yeah, if Russell isn't quite at his best and is a 5.5, 6 out of 10, then in this championship they can get dragged into it. Took a bit of time for Darcy Graham to get into the game, and when he did, a small exaggeration to say, is he their version of Jason Robinson, Cheslin Colby? Can he be that good for them? I think he's got to do it a few more times yet, but I love the kid.
Yeah.
Kinghorn is a phenomenal rugby
He's
player.
Class, isn't he?
One pass he put into Duane van der Merwe, which just said, I'm just going to stick it there because I know exactly what your speed time is. If I put it there, that is the perfect baton change. Goes. His out that he has with Russell. Stafford McDowell did really well at 12. Hugh Jones bagged a hat-trick. This Ferguson the tight head Xander, strong. Dempsey off the bench. Darge good. Gilchrist grew into it. Gray hasn't played rugby for 2 years. It told a little bit, but did the bits and pieces nicely. And they just got a little bit... I think if Russell had been an 8 or a 9, this could have been 40 points to 20 and comfortable. When he dropped, and Italy now are way more competitive, whether it's Ferrari and Fischetti ripping turnovers at the breakdown, or Lamaro, the skipper, and Negri punching holes. I really like Garbisi at 10. Pejarello at 9's got a point of difference about him. Have they got the best midfield in the championship? You know, you might say, oh, Aki Ringrose. You might look at Moefana and Deporter. But Brex and Menincello get in the conversation as best midfield combination in the tournament. And they found their way back into it. I think Scotland were the better team, were architects of their own downfall a little bit. Italy couldn't get Capuozzo into the game at all.
No, didn't see him.
But offered a really strong challenge. And cause there's always an element of me where I'm slightly harking back to my youth of living in Italy in the 70s. I think I like Italy. I think they're a great side. But Scotland, we've always said this should be a comfortable bonus point win. I think Sunday's as big as it's got since the World Cup for Scotland and Gregor. That World Cup where they didn't fire a shot really, well, they didn't against Ireland. And against South Africa, they had a half a nibble early on and they let a chance slip, and then South Africa just swamped them. We build them up. One of my Scottish friends, we're on the crest of another slump. I'm like, no, I'm like Del Boy. This time next week, Scotland, you'll be millionaires. Next Sunday, for a Lions year, the next couple of weeks for Scotland. Home to Ireland, away to England. You're picking a Lions squad today. You've probably got 12 lads in. They get beat twice in 2 games to the other 2 teams that are going to have representation, specifically Ireland. It's massive for these young lads.
Yeah.
But there's also, you go flip it around and go, what? The bloody Ireland knows they win the Calcutta Cup again. But all 7 Scottish backs could go on the Lions tour. Yeah. If the 2 results are good for them.
I'm going to pick out a name for you because I thought he was magnificent actually, and you just said that he was good, but I thought that Rory Darge was epic.
Yeah. Do you know why? I don't know why I was butt here. Do you know why?
Go on.
Jack Morgan was immense.
Yeah.
Van der Fleer was chuffing great. Both Curry boys. I know Curry had 6 on his back, but can play 7.
Yeah.
Why?
Someone's going to miss out.
So why? You're right. Darge was. But everyone who was up against in the back row for Lions was also bloody good.
Yes.
And so I was like, I can't... I'm just a little bit reticent to go because the standard of performance by some of those 7s. And Jack Morgan, I've not picked him in my Lions 15 of the week. I have got a Welshman in there. I don't know how I've not picked Jack Morgan, and it's because all the others were so good.
Yeah.
So I'm not playing Darge's performance. I was just watching it with a lens going, 7s or potential Lions 7s this weekend, you better be good because you're going to get left behind super fast.
So quick preview for Scotland-Ireland. It's a hell of a game, isn't it? Where are you?
Before this tournament, I had Scotland to win that one. Ireland are 6-point favourites. I'm going Scotland, man.
You are?
Yeah.
I like that.
I'll take them with the handicap on a bet, which is slightly sitting on the fence. I'll be confident of winning money with Scotland with a 6-point start.
Yeah.
I've always felt no Grand Slam this year. Scotland win it.
Yeah, it's going to be epic. It is going to be an epic game. Okay, on to a game that was never really in doubt. Wales-France. And the thing that I found a little bit depressing about it, Greens, was first game of the championship. I have to say, I was all pumped up for it. The fireworks were going off. France were doing their thing. And there was just this.
You miserable old guy.
I know.
How can you be depressed?
No, because
The show and the
show was
quality of the
unbelievable.
rugby.
That's what I'm saying. But the peak for me was at that moment, really. I mean, fabulous to watch France playing some great rugby. But in terms of a contest, it never really, for me, certainly, felt like a contest. There felt this just inevitability about what was going to happen based on France's just phenomenal ability to just soak up and nullify anything that Wales really threw at them. What's your take?
France are an awesome rugby team, and it's Paris on opening night. Well, I mean, Wales never stood a chance. I think I'm one of the few who I'm coming out of it going, I liked a lot of what I saw from Wales. You're like, what? You scored 0 points. You're right. France did soak it up. So we'll go to town on France in a second, but let's talk about the positives. Jack Morgan. I mean, what a captain! What a captain! The young lad on the wing, Rogers. I like Thomas, fly half. Will Rowlands, both of them throwing themselves in front of human juggernauts, just time after time after time. There are lots of possession and territory. You're right, they didn't go anywhere, but France, it felt like a man's team playing an under-20s team.
Yes.
But I thought so I'm looking at it, I thought the under-20s team did really well.
It
is Wales, it should be better. So their titanic tussle is Italy next week, but I really liked a lot of what Wales are putting together. They just, in the pack, were playing against bigger, heavier men. In the backs, playing against faster, more agile men, which means you're stuffed, but doesn't mean you don't have a go. And I thought, am I saying it's lost 43? I thought they really had a go. There was enough in there for me to see Wales at home picking up wins.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, if you're Welsh, this is music to their ears, because I haven't heard anyone talking like this off the back of that game.
I've not read that many papers. Are they're down on it?
I mean, it's pretty much doom and gloom, even from the Welsh lads. I heard Warburton talking, Jamie Roberts. They were pretty depressed. I tell you what,
I'm not after free entry to Tiger, by the way. I know the owner. I can get in anyway.
I tell you what, Dan Biggar said. Dan Biggar said that this game is the biggest game for Wales, certainly in terms of consequences for the last 20 odd years. Would you go along with that?
If you're, because you're then looking down the track and going, if they can't win this, they'll lose the rest of them. So that'll be 17 on the trot. Back-to-back wooden spoon, 0 points. The game in turmoil off the pitch, absolutely free fall on the field. Yeah, you can, occasionally in sport you get headlines that are a little bit strong, but you can absolutely create a narrative that says, for ramifications, this is as big as it gets.
Okay, well, let's move on to France.
Dupont off the charts. This new law that protects 9. I mean, he found he could protect himself anyway. He's now been given an extra half a yard. His control with the ball off the boot, off both feet, means he just jumps out of the pocket, steps away from a ruck, has a little look both ways, drops onto left or right foot for cross kicks and tries. You get your spacings wrong, he's gone, which he did on Jenkins for the Atisogbe second try. He set up the Atisogbe first try. In fact, he had all 3 assists, didn't he? Jet shoes on the wings. Now, what they didn't pick up Ramos did one thing in the first half that he just went, has he just done that in a test match? So 5 metre channel, 10 yards from their own line. I think Budawan might have been just put away up the right hand side, nearly gets there. Ball comes loose.
And he chips it up, I love that.
Chips it up to himself.
Yeah, it's a great moment.
Chips it up to himself. You're like, that's a man who's pretty, I mean, we talked about confidence with England. That's a man who's just, I can do what I want. This is my town.
Yeah.
One of the northern suburbs of Paris.
Yeah. He's so good. Mate, the other moment for Ramos in the first few minutes was his 50-22, where, it's just the vision that he has. It's that 10-15
he looks like an
thing.
accountant.
It does.
Yeah, it's like you bumped into him. It's like, what, you're one of France's greatest ever fullbacks. Yeah. They're comparing you to Serge Blanco. You just don't look right. No. Moefana at 12 has grown into... I might not say Marnonu, but Marnonu early on was a powerful athlete who became this all-court player. Moefana made his name with power, but now looks like a baller at 12. Boudouin, brilliant in the back row. Cross just crosses there. Richard Hill just makes a million tackles, does the little bits and pieces. Aldrich just keeps moving forward. Meafu wasn't even fit and picked up a knock for Toulouse, but played. He's got more to come. Played with Roumar. Flamand wasn't even playing. He should come back. Movaka's as close to as good as Sheehan. Marchand's as close to as good as Kelleher, so their twos are matching anyone for pound for pound. Gross at loose head. Rini Antonio. Cyril Baez, one of my favourite players of all time.
The little
the out the
pass
back
out
and
the
then
back.
the Le Garec out the back.
Yeah.
Pace, movement, powerful, love a short side. And at their best against Wales, yes, you can love the width and the speed, but at their best, their offloading game that Toulouse are masters of at the moment just means you think you've got a good hit on Aldrich and the ball's gone. You've got by, ball's gone. It means you're hitting two-man tackles and the ball's gone. Two-man tackles. You just run out of numbers.
Yeah. I think the frightening thing for, I guess, the other teams in this Six Nations competition is, and maybe I've got this wrong, but France were brilliant, but I actually didn't feel like they got out of sort of third, fourth gear. You know, that was sort of the slightly scary thing about that, watching them.
Yeah, look, Dupont goes off to 49.
Yeah.
Ramos 57. They bring 5 on, so they take off Movac. I know I talked about the quality of people who do come on, but if you make sort of 7, the game's done. And Gaultier and Ibanez have gone, the game's done. The bonus points in the bag. Wales are not a threat. Even if they did come and score a couple, fresh, Twickenham next week, get them off. And Wales were brave and kept coming and kept tackling, and Jack Morgan kept leading. The ball movement became a little staccato.
Yeah.
The passes stopped people a little bit. Mm-hmm. There were new combinations who haven't played 100 tests together. And so there's an understanding as to why that happened, which is terrifying for everyone else.
Yeah, and
I mean, they are the best team.
Just linking to...
Are they the best team? Ireland fans are now screaming at me. Are they the best team? Actually, I'm going to rein back. I've said it a couple of times. I feel France are the best, and it's totally unfair of me to say that. Ireland will play France, and we'll find out who the best team in the championship. On paper, I just whisper it.
Scotland might have something to say about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you up in a helicopter now, look at the whole round 1 of the Six Nations, and give me your take on round 1 and what you felt overall. Was it a really good representation of what the Six Nations is?
Absolutely. Yes, I mean, I'm trying to think of something fancy to say. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great tournament.
Yeah.
And immediately, in a sort of Damascene way, people go off left or right down probably slightly predictable stories after week 1, understanding that massive games come. The public can excuse you losing the first game away from home, which is what all 3 teams did. Now comes teams who are expected to win their home games, desperately hoping to win their home games, and now comes favourites going on the road, trying to impose themselves. So if you like your food to be the main course, we're coming to the main course. We had a lovely sort of antipasti.
Love that. Okay, so we are moving on now to Lions Watch.
Yeah.
So we, I think, are going to talk about lots of players, but we're also going to pick from this weekend our Lions team, and we're obviously therefore going to be ignoring France and Italy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear who you've got in your starting 15.
Literally just the 15, or do you want who came close?
I think it's worth exploring who came close in each position.
Let me list the team to start with. Porter, loose head. Sheehan, hooker. Fagerson, Zander, tight head. Tagburn, second row, in there with Will Rowlands, Wales. Tom Curry, 6. Darge, 7. Doris, 8. Jameson Gibson Park, 9. Finn Russell, 10. Lowe, 11. Aki, 12. Hugh Jones, 13. Darcy Graham, 14. Blair Kinghorn, 15. Lots and lots and lots of close selections. That is excluding players who are unfit, not thinking about July 14th or whatever it is, July 17th, purely focusing on round 1, the best 15 I can pick from Lions eligible players.
Hell of a team.
Where was Close? Schumann close at loosehead. Kelleher close at hooker. On the tight head, Beelum has a strong game. So did Will Stewart, by the way. I've not talked about him. I think Will Stewart, if England can get some results together, just might be a sort of dark horse as a spare tight head. Tagburn, 1 of 1 in the second row, number 1. But in the options I had in the second row, Marrow, Gilchrist as well, close. But Will Rowland's bulky, heavy, toe-to-toe with heavy Frenchmen, hundreds of tackles, disruptive in the maul, big game. Back row was so hard. I thought Ben Curry was great. Yeah. I thought Van der Fleer was super. I thought James Botham was outstanding. Jack Morgan, I can't believe I haven't picked him. But Curry, Darge, Doris. Did JGP, James Gibson Park, get pushed at scrum half? Thomas Williams, good in France, but difficult to compete. Ben White, okay, but he was standout. Finn Russell with a 6 out of 10 gets in. I'm trying not to give Cuba credit for who they are. I'm banking trying to go just on the game, and I still think even a 6 out of 10, I'd still go.
I felt Marcus was good again. Where does he fall down when you're doing that direct comparison between him and Finn? I mean, so I
moves to fullback at 50 minutes.
Yeah, okay, but I would argue that in terms of the errors that Finn Russell made, I didn't see that from Marcus. I felt like he controlled pretty well.
Who scored for England? Freeman and Caden Murley. It was Henry Slayer's little kick up the left-hand side. So the reason, a lot of the Smith break early on was from fullback when they kicked long. I thought a lot of his play, the good stuff we saw, was when deeper. But it's absolutely, and I could see why on the back of one game you might go, Marcus, push him close.
Yeah.
Russ Lowe on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand out for me.
In the midfield, who pushed them close? Ringrose, a good player, but Jones scores a hat-trick.
He's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah, powerful. I mean, his second one was his best one, up the right-hand side, where the first one was a slap back from someone else's break and ends up. That's a lovely. He had Darcy Graham made the second by going from deep, and it was an inside ball.
Yeah.
Or actually outside ball because he jogged back in. His second one, I think, his finish was great. Yeah, no, super. Darcy Graham and Kinghorn. I'm pretty happy that I'm going to get 90% agreement with people. You're never going to pick a team that pleases everyone.
No.
Like you said, you'd have picked Marcus Smith. You'd pick Marcus Smith. If there's a test match next Saturday in Australia, you'd pick Marcus Smith above Finn Russell.
Yeah, I think I would actually. I mean, I'm a massive Marcus Smith fan.
I've noticed you've just picked him above Finn Russell. He's the best fly-half in the world, so you must be.
Yeah, I am. I think he's a magic man. I really do. And sometimes
So you keep him at 10 for the France game?
Yeah, I would.
And you leave Stewart at that?
Yeah, I would.
You just told me Stewart can't tackle.
No, but I just think that Marcus Smith, I've listened to a lot of the psychology around it as well, and I just think we're at that point where we need to put a flag in the ground and say to ourselves, we're playing around this bloke who I think he has an X factor, and often I feel like with these type of players, they're almost that notch above, and we need the rest of the guys to catch up, right?
Yeah.
To sort of be playing on the same plane.
I don't want to be like Darren Brown. So you'd have picked Cipriani?
I would have picked him more. Look, that's me, right?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. It's the beauty of the pub debate, and it's there isn't a right or wrong.
No.
He's an incredible footballer.
He's an incredible footballer, but I think that the thing that we've asked him to get better at is controlling the game and consistency, and I feel like he is doing that alongside the magic.
Yes.
And therefore, I feel like his credit's in the bank. And
Yes.
I think you said it last week, actually. You said that you need someone to come in and be snapping at his toes, but he's the man that's got that shirt at the minute. And I think that my take on it is moving him to fullback, which is not his number one position, is just the wrong call at this point. But I completely understand.
Do you think they'll do it?
Well, look, the argument.
He did it in the World Cup, didn't he?
He did. Possibly.
Do I think he'll do it? I don't think he will. I think he'll keep him at 10, Stewart at 15.
Finn Smith was great when he came on. Yeah. He was really, really good. So listen, gang, that brings us to the end of round 1 of the Six Nations Rugby Mates podcast. Really enjoyed it again, Greens. Are we going to get a guest in at any point, do you think? Or should we just keep it you and I? We'll just see how we go, shall we?
I wasn't in the state of mind to be able to get a guest. I actually rang Rog Ronan.
Did
He's
you?
got a newspaper deal. He's not allowed to do pods.
Oh.
He'd have loved to.
Yeah.
So we could pretend he'd be my version of Roy Keane. He's supposed to kick goals. Why wouldn't he? With more effort, I should get more guests.
Well,
rugby or not rugby?
Well, I quite like the idea of the sort of the unexpected.
Yeah.
You know, so I suggested Jimmy Nesbitt, didn't I, to you for this week. Did you give him a call or not?
I didn't. He'd have loved to have sat on here, and he's a United fan. Did they get beat? Oh, they got beat by Palace. Anyway, he'd love it. Actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah, anyway, wonderful. Thanks for watching. I am still talking. We are going to be across all the normal channels, YouTube, Spotify. I'll try and figure out all the other,
How do you get on Apple?
Platforms as well.
People go on Apple.
Yeah,
can you get on that or not?
We'll sort that out. Right. Producer Ollie. He's going to be on that.
We sound like we're an organised crew.
We are, Greens. We are. Thanks for watching, gang. Bye-bye.